Starship Troopers is Triumph of the Will in outer space.
Brian, what's Triumph of the Will?
A well-received, well-made German film.
Oh. Imagine alien bugs on the other side of the galaxy start throwing bug meteors at Earth, like an interstellar game of darts. Now imagine the dumbest people from your high school all enlist in the army, and Earth's only hope rests on their shoulders. Well, that's Starship Troopers. Brian, this was your second time watching this. This was my first. What did you think rewatching it? And, yeah.
I think that if there's at any point in watching this film that you think something is stupid, then you don't understand art, and you don't understand that if the movie made more sense, it would be bad. I think that, and I think that in order for this movie to work, everyone had to be hot. You know what I mean? That was a big, said, chiseled.
Yeah, Johnny Rico's the perfect Aryan specimen.
Yeah, and it's not very subtle that they're all blonde-haired, blue-eyed in Argentina, which is where the Nazis fled after World War II. So it's kind of like...
Well, I'm glad you said that like right off the bat, because when I was watching this, I really thought like this is almost a choose-your-own-adventure movie, but with intelligence. Because like, it's... So I first thought like it's a big space spoof, like a sci-fi movie, but it's really not. It's more a war satire and spoof than anything else, and that was kind of what kept me guessing throughout this, because I get a little bit of Airplane and that kind of vibe, so I was like, oh, this is how the scene's gonna end. But it doesn't, and it takes it in a different direction. They're so outmatched by the bugs.
Right.
So I'm like, well, how are they gonna win?
Right.
And it's funny because it ends with them not even winning. Like,
right.
the war is still going on, but there's a lot of subtlety to it that you think kind of setting up with like setup and payoff, where sometimes it's just a one line, and I think this is my kind of sci-fi where it's not really about science at all. It's more about the metaphors and the story, because it's like, right, Buenos Aires and Argentina, and all of the teachers are physically disabled in some way. The teacher with doing the dissections, who shout out to Blanche from the Golden Girls, she's blind. Their teacher in the first scene doesn't have an arm, so they're all veterans, but they're all teaching. And I liked how in the class he even straight up says like that whole speech about violence doesn't solve anything, and he's like, no, you just are, like, be violent, that's the first course.
Right.
And what's funny is that it opens on that website, which I think is an interesting device for like exposition and some stuff, but they say that the bugs are somehow hurling the asteroids, but there's never proof of that, and I think Earth is just somehow tracked where the asteroid belt is and was like, we're just gonna attack them. That's my theory, anyway.
There's even a point where a guy goes, maybe the bugs are just defending themselves, and then the guy's like, how dare you say some shit like that? Like, that's just treasonous. And the movie never goes into detail of, like, who fired first.
Yeah, I think Earth did. That's my theory.
Oh, yeah.
Because you never see how the bugs somehow get the asteroids sent over to Earth. It's just that they explain it where, like, how the sun or whatever is, like, it just makes a field of asteroids.
Plandathu, source of the bug meteor attacks, orbits a twin star system whose brutal gravitational forces produce an unlimited supply of bug meteorites in the form of this asteroid belt. To ensure the safety of our solar system, Plandathu must be eliminated.
Right.
And they make their way to Earth. The asteroids from the other side of the galaxy must be so small by the time they reach us. Like, are they really a threat?
Oh, having them on the other side of the galaxy just makes it so much more absurd, because it's like, why even make the trip? Like, you're telling me that you can invade this alien bug planet, but you can't blow up an asteroid before it hits Buenos Aires? Like,
well, they do have the missile thing on the moon.
The bugs send another meteor our way, but this time we're ready. planetary defenses are better than ever.
So anyway, back to like the start of the movie, because like I was saying, how it's what I thought this was and what it actually is were two very different things. It just starts like a high school movie. 'Cause there's the football game, which is like the big game. There's prom or whatever. They're seniors, so it's they're all going away to college, and Johnny Carmen and Neil Patrick Harris's character have that like. We'll stay friends, like that.
We'll be friends forever.
Yeah, that trope of whatever happens, guys.
Yeah.
And then later, it's like good things seem to happen when we're together, and they're like, yeah. And then it just becomes like a straight up war movie, or like Stripes, when they're in their training, and then it's just a straight up war movie where everybody's dying, and the tones are hugely changing.
Carmen?
There he is.
Wake him up. Hey, Johnny! Hey!
Hey, Rico!
Hey, Johnny!
Hey, Rico!
Wake
What you doing, fish boy? Hey, look! You're dead!
Killed in action!
It's hard to pull off changing tone, I feel like.
As quickly as they do, because then again when it's like the all-out war and they're losing, you have the trope of like, oh, the veteran is like coming to help us, and then John Belushi's like, he's like, oh, he doesn't seem so great, and they like punch him in the face and like, he saved my life, and he's like, he saved my life. And you find out it's the teacher from the beginning, and then like they're losing, they're held up at that Mormon camp or whatever, and it's really intense, it's real serious, and he goes, "Come on, apes, don't you want to live forever?" Which is the best line ever. And it's like they will throw in a goofy line or something like that, and I think it's all just making fun of the military.
Or like the scene where they're in training and he's like, what's the point of practicing knife throwing? And it's like, put your hand on this wall. And it's like, bam. And
The whole medic thing too. He breaks a dude's arm. Are you okay? I think it's just my arm. It's like, yeah, I think it is your arm because you see the bone bulging.
Back.
Yeah. And Clancy Brown just goes, medic! And there's a whole thing where he just hurts. And then when Dizzy shows up, which is like, because you don't see her too much before that, she's like, she joins because she wants to be with Johnny, and then she starts fighting Clancy Brown and just immediately gets like choked out. It's like, why would she? Like, they're all just so in it for the glory and the like masculinity of it, Where it's like, oh, I gotta prove that I'm good enough to be here. All right, let's fight, and just immediately gets put on her ass.
Yeah, or it's like, oh, Rico's here for a girl, and Dizzy's like making fun of him as if she's not there for like the exact same reason.
Yeah, I do love that. I like, too, a little bit of the world building. It came off very natural when they're all in the showers and they're like, so why are you in the military? And you just understand a little bit of like, not only serving gives you citizenship, it's like, alright, but then like, what does citizenship give you? And, to be a politician, to have a license to have children.
Right.
And then that's just something they never talk about again. That's just another little throwaway line.
I think that the people in Starship Troopers have more of a reason to join the military than if you ask real soldiers, I think, because I've seen TikTok videos where they go to these soldiers and they go, hey, why'd you join the military? And they go, fuck if I know, man.
That kind of happens with Johnny, though, because then...
True.
I was kind of thinking about like what really to pull from like Star Wars, where Luke wanted to go fight the rebellion anyway, and then his Uncle Owen and Aunt Beru died, so he's like, all right, I'll go with Obi-Wan. But then with him, it's like, I went for a girl, I don't have the girl anymore.
Right.
My home is destroyed, and that like fuels him a little bit. So he just kind of like stumbles into it, you know? There's not really like a want really there's no internal need, you know? It's just the external of like, oh, I wanted this girl, but now she's with the fancy pilot boy.
Right.
And then Dizzy dies, which sucked. I was really sad about that. So then he just kind of is in the military now. And then sort of mirrors the teacher, because the teacher dies. Then he starts kind of saying the stuff that the teacher was saying, which made me think that it isn't unique to the teacher. That's just what whatever position he was in general, whatever, like, that's just their rhetoric of, don't you want to live forever, and you'll do the job until you die or I find someone better. Which I think, even though a lot of the people we meet in the movie have a little more valid excuses to join the military, I think a lot of them are just like, well, what else am I gonna do?
I think one of the best parts, I think, watching it the second time is just watching how when there's like one bug on screen, there's just 8 people standing around it, just unloading clips into it.
And you see them with grenades and rocket launchers, and they all work so much better, and yet 8 of them just shoot bullets.
Right.
And I think that also, my interpretation is just, you know, it's a big satire on military, and I feel like that's part of it. It's like they do have better weapons, but they're either too dumb or they're like, it's cooler, there's more honor in just shooting a giant bug, which is interesting. Back to the dissection scene, he's just like a savage, just ripping the thing's guts out, not learning a thing.
Right.
And I think that shows too, because later Neil Patrick Harris says like, oh, this part of the bug, there's a weak spot, and if you just shoot it, it dies immediately. And none of them know that.
None of them took that advice. Literally, throughout the rest of the movie, how many bullets does it take to kill one bug in that movie?
50,000, I think, per gun.
Right, per gun.
Yeah.
Like, these clips must be like 50, 100 round clips, because they're just like, ah!
I think it was so weird, the foreshadowing of, like, the dad saying that he, like, oh, I'd rather get 10 lashes in public square. And you're like, that's kind of random for a sci-fi movie. And then, Johnny gets whipped in the middle of the camp with just a whip.
Right.
Just a normal whip, not like this cool laser whip or anything like that, you know? And it's just a really weird scene. Like, I think they cut to a couple reactions, but I think for the most part, you just see his face and then his back, and it's just like, it's just really grim.
It was like watching Passion of the Christ all over.
Yeah, like the moments are like, it's really intense and very serious, and then just quick little goofy scenes.
Warm it all up! Everything you've got! Come on, you hate! You want to live forever?
Yeah, like, I know the violence is supposed to be gratuitous, but it's gratuitous. It's too much just shooting it, just emptying clips into bugs, and bugs just turning people into fish food, like... And honestly, the way movies are made, honestly, I think the movie would be funnier with more nudity. I think they pushed it as far as they could.
Yeah.
For the time period, they could show lady boobs or whatever.
Yeah. You saw some butts here and there. Some man and female butts. Yeah.
But if I were to remake the movie, there'd be a lot of, like, male frontal nudity, you know what I mean? Just a lot of close-ups. In between, like, combat scenes, there would just always be some excuse to have, you know...
Oh no, the bug bit my pants off.
Yeah.
Alright, bro, that's one interpretation. That's one angle that I think, yeah.
Or, like, Rico has to, like, swing his penis to defeat the aliens, you know, something like that. He can't hit the button with his hands, you know.
Like, because you know, it's a callback to when the other guy has a knife in his hand, and he goes, how can the enemy defuse the nuke when you take away his hand? It's like, I'll just use my dick.
Right. Yeah. Like, really hammer home the kind of masculine and yeah.
In closing, all I have to say is,
I'm from Buenos Aires, and I say kill them all! Yeah!